Hi everyone, welcome back to Insurance World TV. Today, we are diving into a topic that's deeply important but often overlooked, the crucial role of funeral rites insurance in Kenya, protecting your family from financial strain. Funeral ceremonies in Kenya are rich in tradition and cultural significance, but they can also come with hefty expenses that place a heavy financial burden on families. From purchasing a casket and covering mortuary bills to transportation and providing food for mourners, the costs can add up quickly. In this video, we'll explore why having a funeral rites or last expense insurance plan is essential. We'll break down the typical expenses associated with funeral rites and show you how this insurance can help ease the financial pressure on your family, allowing you to focus on what truly matters, celebrating the life of your loved one. So, if you're interested in learning how to plan ahead and ensure your family is protected from unexpected costs, stay tuned. Introduction. In Kenya, traditional funeral rites are an integral part of honoring and celebrating the lives of our loved ones. These ceremonies are deeply rooted in cultural practices and hold significant meaning for families, serving as a vital way to pay respect to the deceased and to provide closure for those left behind. The rich diversity of Kenya's ethnic groups means that funeral practices can vary widely, each with unique rituals and customs that reflect the deep cultural heritage of the community. From the grand ceremonies of the Luo, who often hold elaborate funerals involving extended family and community members, to the more modest but equally significant rites of the Kikuyu, the process of bidding farewell to a loved one is imbued with traditions that have been passed down through generations. These ceremonies are not just about mourning, they are also about celebrating the life that was lived, offering a sense of continuity, and reaffirming the bonds of family and community. However, these meaningful traditions come with substantial costs that can place a heavy financial burden on those left behind. The expenses associated with a typical Kenyan funeral can be staggering. They include the cost of transporting the body, preparing it for burial, purchasing a casket or shroud, and securing a burial plot. Additionally, there are costs for hosting large gatherings, providing food and refreshments for mourners, hiring tents and chairs, and setting up public address systems to ensure that everyone can participate in the ceremony. These costs can quickly add up to hundreds of thousands of shillings, a significant amount for many Kenyan families. The financial pressure can be overwhelming, especially when it comes at a time of emotional distress. Without adequate planning, families might find themselves struggling to cover these expenses, leading to debt or the necessity of cutting back on important aspects of the ceremony. This is where having a funeral rites or last expense insurance plan becomes essential. Such a plan can provide the financial support needed to cover the costs of a funeral, ensuring that families can honor their loved ones without the added stress of financial strain. By covering the various expenses associated with funeral rites, funeral rites insurance allows families to focus on what truly matters, celebrating the life of the deceased and supporting one another through the grieving process. Chapter 1. The cost of traditional funeral rites in Kenya. Funeral expenses in Kenya can vary widely depending on cultural practices, location, and personal preferences. Traditional funeral ceremonies often involve a range of services, including transportation of the body, preparation, and ceremonial activities. Costs for these services can range from 50,000 Kenyan shillings to 500,000 Kenyan shillings, depending on the complexity of the arrangements. Here's a look at some common costs associated with funeral rites. 1. Unpaid medical bills. Many families face significant out-of-pocket expenses, including co-pays, deductibles, and uncovered treatments. If the patient passes away, these bills remain, and the responsibility to settle them falls on the family. The emotional toll of losing a loved one is compounded by the stress of managing unpaid medical bills, creating a challenging situation for the bereaved. 2. Mortuary bills. One significant and often overlooked expense is the mortuary bill. When a loved one passes away, their body is usually taken to a mortuary where it is stored and preserved until the funeral. This process involves several costs, including storage fees charged by the mortuary for storing the body until the funeral, whose costs typically ranges from 500 Kenyan shillings to 2,000 Kenyan shillings per day, depending on the facility and the length of storage required. 2. Preparation fees, costs associated with preparing the body for viewing and burial, including embalming, dressing, and cosmetic treatments. Cost can range from 15,000 Kenyan shillings to 40,000 Kenyan shillings, depending on the services required and the mortuary's pricing. 3. Caskets/coffins and dressing. Another significant and often costly item is the casket. The cost of a casket can vary widely based on materials, craftsmanship, and design preferences. Here's a breakdown of the typical costs. Basic caskets cost 20,000 Kenyan shillings to 50,000 Kenyan shillings. Mid-range caskets cost 50,000 Kenyan shillings to 100,000 Kenyan shillings. Premium caskets cost 100,000 Kenyan shillings to 250,000 Kenyan shillings or more. Custom-made caskets cost 150,000 Kenyan shillings to 500,000 Kenyan shillings, depending on customization. Dressing, this is done at normal apparel rates, meaning the cost can range from 3,000 Kenyan shillings upwards. 4. Cost of transportation. Transporting the body from the mortuary to the funeral venue and burial site is another significant expense, with cost ranging from 50,000 Kenyan shillings and 250,000 Kenyan shillings, depending on distance and the type of vehicle used. Other related costs. 1. Headstone or grave marker. 2. Traditional and cultural rituals. 3. Funeral/church service and ceremony. 4. Catering and refreshments. 5. Obituary notices. 6. Floral arrangements. 7. Tents and chairs. 8. Public address system. 9. Miscellaneous expenses, includes other incidental costs such as printing programs, transportation for family members, and other unplanned expenses. Funeral costs in Kenya can quickly amount to hundreds of thousands of shillings, creating significant financial pressure for families during an already emotional time. Without proper planning, families may struggle with debt or have to cut back on important aspects of the ceremony. A last expense, last respect, or final rites insurance cover is essential to provide the financial support needed to manage these costs. This policy ensures that families can honor their loved ones without the added stress of financial strain, allowing them to focus on celebrating the life of the deceased and supporting each other through the grieving process. Chapter 2. The role of last expense/final rites insurance. Final rites insurance, or last expense insurance, is designed to cover funeral-related costs, but its benefits can extend to addressing unpaid medical bills. Here's how final rites insurance can help. 1. Comprehensive coverage. Some final rites insurance policies offer comprehensive coverage that includes not only funeral expenses but also outstanding medical bills. This ensures that families are not left struggling to pay hospital bills while also arranging for the funeral. 2. Financial relief. By covering unpaid medical bills, Final Rites Insurance provides immediate financial relief. This allows families to focus on grieving and honoring their loved one without the added burden of financial stress. 3. Debt prevention. Without insurance, families may need to take loans or sell assets to cover unpaid medical bills and funeral costs. Final Rites Insurance helps prevent this scenario, offering a straightforward solution to manage these expenses. 4. Peace of mind. Knowing that unpaid medical bills will be taken care of provides peace of mind for the family. This assurance allows them to focus on what truly matters, mourning the loss and celebrating the life of their loved one. 5. Cultural sensitivity. Many Final Rites insurance plans in Kenya are designed to accommodate local customs and practices, ensuring that all traditional and cultural requirements are met without added financial pressure. Chapter 3. Where one can get the last expense/funeral/final rites cover. The last expense insurance policy can be found as a standalone policy. Several insurance companies in Kenya offer last expense insurance policies designed to cover funeral-related costs. Various insurance policies also offer the last expense coverage as an extension of the main policy. These policies include medical/health insurance, group life insurance, and personal accident coverage. However, it is important to note that these extensions have their limitations depending on the terms of the primary cover. It's important to assess your needs, compare options, and choose a policy that provides the necessary coverage to ease the financial burden on your loved ones during a difficult time. Chapter 4. Choosing the right Final Rites Insurance. Selecting the appropriate Final Rites Insurance involves assessing your needs and discussing options with a qualified insurance advisor. Consider factors such as coverage limits, benefits, and how well the policy aligns with local customs and practices. By planning ahead, you ensure that your final arrangements are handled with dignity and respect, while alleviating the financial burden on your loved ones. In conclusion, Final Rites Insurance is a critical aspect of comprehensive financial planning in Kenya. It provides essential support to families during a challenging time, ensuring that they can focus on honoring and celebrating your life without the added stress of financial concerns. For more information on Final Rites Insurance and to find the best plan for you, visit Insurance World TV or contact a local insurance advisor. Your thoughtful planning today can make a significant difference in the lives of those you leave behind. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more tips on navigating adulthood. Stay safe and secure out there.